Okay, this is MT2 Lesson 1, Quarter 3. Due to technology, I've got to do it the old-fashioned way, but I wanted to hurry and get this video up for you guys so that you could have it. All right, okay, here we go. This is MT2 Lesson 1. I can factor the greatest common factor from an expression. I can factor quadratics where a equals 1, factoring where a equals 1. Okay, what I would do is you should have a set of notes that your teacher provided for you. You go ahead and fill in the I can statement, watch along, and be able to fill in the questions and the problems where needed. Okay, vocabulary. Fill this in. Factor is a number that divides another number evenly without a remainder. This means if you get a fraction or a decimal, it does not work. Greatest common factor, we've done this for quite a few years, this should sound familiar, is the largest. We're looking for the largest positive integer that divides into two or more numbers without leaving a remainder. Okay, so if I'm looking here at 30 and 72, 1 is a factor that they have in common. Greatest common means it's got to be alike. 2 is 1, 3 is 1, 5 is 1, no, 5's not over here on 72, just kidding. 30's not, 15's not, 10's not, but 6 is. 6 is the one I need in. So which one's the biggest? 1, 2, 3, or 6? 6 is. So 6, your greatest common factor is 6. Okay? And I don't know that you have that on your notes anywhere, but that's just kind of an example. Okay, this should be one of the problems on your notes. You've got 25 and 30. Okay, let's list the factors of 25 and 30. And I think the more you work with this, the more that you'll be able just to remember. 30 is 1 and 30. 2 is 15. And if you're not good at your times tables, get a calculator and do 30 divided by 1, you get 30. Do 30 divided by 2, you get 15. 30 divided by 3, get 10. 30 divided by 4 will give you a decimal or a fraction. 30 divided by 5 will give you 6. 30 divided by 6, we've already got it. 7, 8, 9, 10, we already have. 3 and 10, 11 and 12. So this is it. So we're looking for the GCF. Okay, what does the GCF equal? 5. That's what we have. So go ahead and label that. All right. Okay, what is the GCF? Okay, we got 4 and 8. 1 times 4, 2 times 2, x and x. 1 times 8, 2 times 4, and then we have an x. So what is the greatest number, the biggest? Well, yeah, they have 1, they have 2, but they also have what? 4. Fantastic. And they also have an x in common. So the GCF is 4x. Sometimes we have variables, so we have to look at those also to see what the GCF is. Okay, what is the GCF? 48. We've got 1 and 48. Okay, we've got 2 and 24. We have 3 and 16. We have 4 and 12. 5 doesn't work. 6 times 8. 7, 8, 8 we already have. 9, 10, 11, and 12 we already have. We have an x and a y. 36, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5 doesn't work, 6 works, 6 times 6, and then 7, 8, 9 we already have, 10, 11, and 12 we already have. Okay, what is the greatest common factor that they have? Well, it's 12 and an x. Do they have other things in common? Sure they do, but 12 is the greatest. 18, 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, and I believe that's it. 30, we already did 30. If you want to go back and look at problem number 1, we already have the factors listed there. They're on repeat here. 3 and 10, 6 and 5, 2 x's. We've got 3 x's over here and a z. Okay, what's the greatest number that they have in common? Okay, the biggest. I'm looking at 6. Do you see any others? I'm not seeing any others, so I'm going to choose 6. This one has 2 x's. This has 3 x's, so we can at least get 2 x's out of both of them. And this has a z, this doesn't have a z, so this is going to be your GCF. Okay. All right, now we've got some on your notes or right here. We have some rules for factoring expressions. We're going to identify the terms. We're going to find the GCF. That's why we practice GCF for numbers and variables, right? The GCF in front of the set of parentheses. Divide each term by the GCF and place the results inside the parentheses. Check your answer, okay? All right, so here's our problem. First thing says identify the terms. We have one term, two terms, separated by a negative sign. So you want to find the GCF. And if you don't know that it's 12, let me show you this. 4 times 3, m and m. So we got 1 times 24, we got 2 times 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, and I think that's it with an m. All right, one thing I like to do is I like to look at the smallest number out of these two coefficients, 12 and 24. And I say, okay, 12 is the smallest. Does 12 divide into 24? If you can say yes, the smallest goes into the largest, then 12 is going to be your GCF. Okay, how many m's can I get out of each group? 1. So let's put 12m out here. Okay, to make it easy on ourselves, this 12 goes with 1. So we use the 12 out here, but what's left? 1. But we also have an m left over. Minus, okay, what goes with 12 on this set of numbers? 2, because we divided the 12 out and we took an m out. This is your answer, or you can just write it as 12m minus 2. Delta Math will take either answer. Okay? All right. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, one thing I failed to mention on this problem was it in standard order? Okay, check to see if it's in standard order. Means from the highest exponent down to the lowest exponent. And it was. This one was in standard form. Okay, let's check number 6. Let's check to see if it's in standard order. 4, 3, 2. So that looks good. Okay, let's look to these numbers, 64, 56, and 8. Which one's smallest? 8. Does 8 divide into 56 evenly? Yes. Does 8 divide into 64 evenly? Yes. Okay, and if that isn't something you want to entertain, then you could list the factors and see that you would get an 8. But think about this. 8 times 8 is 64. 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. 8 divides into 56 7 times, so 8 times 7, 2, 3, and then 8 times 1 with 2 x's. All right, okay, what do they have in common? Well, they have an 8 in common, and they have 2 x's in common. So 8x is going to be the GCF. Now, if the first term has a negative, we have to factor out the negative. The negative will come right here in the front, okay? And then I'll show you what happens with these signs here. So let's look at this. 8, if we take this 8 out, because it was the GCF, take these 2 x's out, what's left? 8x squared. Okay, if I divide this 8 out, and when I say take out, I mean divide. Divide those 2 x's out, what are we left with? 7x. If we divide this 8 out and these 2 x's, what am I left with? A 1. Okay, now, when the GCF has a negative, first term has a negative, and you divide it out, all of the signs inside are going to change. So if you take this negative out, if you take this away, this is now going to be a positive. If you take this negative out, it's going to change it to a positive. If you take this positive out, it's going to change it to a negative. This is your final answer. So remember, when you divide out a negative, it changes the signs. Positive, positive, negative. Okay? Okay, let's look at this. Let's see if it's in standard form. 2, 1, no variables. Okay, what can you divide out of 25, 30, and 15? 5. I've got W's here, but no W's here. So you cannot divide W's out. So this was 5 times 5, W, W. This was 5 times 6, W, and this is 5 times 3 with no W's. Okay, so what did they all have in common? A 5. So what's left? 5W squared. What's left? Plus 6W. What's left? Plus 3. There you go. Okay. Let's look at this one. Does 6 divide into 12? Does 6 divide into 24? Yes. So 6 is probably going to be part of my greatest common factor. However, is this in standard form? No. So let's rewrite it. 6z to the 5th minus 24z plus 12. 6 divides into 24 and 12, so 6 must be the greatest common factor. These have z's, but this last term does not have z's, so we can't factor that. So really, you're dividing everything through by 6. That's another way to look at it. Or 6 times 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 times 4 with a z, and this would be 6 times 2. So if I take a 6 out of all of these, what's left? 1. How many z's? Z to the 5th. If I take out from this pair of numbers, if I divide out the 6, what's left? Plus minus 4z, and then if I take out that, you're going to have a 2 left. There you go. Okay, now we're going to learn how to factor trinomials. Factor form is an expression or an equation written as a product. Product means we're going to multiply two things together. This is useful in finding the roots or the x-intercepts, and if you'd also add zeros and solutions. You see these words interchanged. All of these words mean the same thing. And then this is the format we're going to put it in. Okay? Okay, factoring equations using, they call it the X method, because we're going to draw an X over here. Okay, you identify A, B, and C. So in this problem, this is in the standard form of a quadratic equation. Is y equals, or f of x, ax squared plus bx plus c. All right? Where a is with the x term, x squared term, b is with the x, and c is a constant with no variable. Okay, so this problem that we have, y equals x squared plus 18x plus 80, is in this format. Okay, one thing I want you to get used to is saying that a is just a number. It's not the x squared. A itself is just the number, so it'd be 1. Your b value goes with the x, but we just want the number, 18. C is 30, okay? This is multiply a and c together, so you're going to multiply those together and you get 30, okay? And put the x, list the factors of the top number. Now, this is a times c, if you guys want to write yourself a note there. This is b. Our b is going to be 18, but we're going to use 30 to list the factors. So it'd be 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. We did that in 2 other problems, so hopefully you've got those factors down, okay? All right, we want factors that would add, and let's see, is that 18? And I just did this wrong because this is 80. Excuse me, I can't multiply, so let's just fix this again. 80, excuse me. All right, 1 times 80, I wrote 30 here instead of 80, which was in the problem. So 1 times 80, there we go, 2 times 40, 3 won't work, 4 and 10, 5 works, I think 5 is 16, 6 will work, no, does 6 work? No, 7 doesn't work. 8 works. And 9 doesn't work. 10 we already have. 11 and 12 does not work. All right. Okay. Which numbers would add or subtract to give us, this is a plus 18. Probably going to be 8 and 10. So we're going to put an 8 here and a 10 here and put a plus and a plus. Okay. Now, these two factors are going to be really important here in just a minute when we go to write our factored form of this equation. Remember, we want to try to put this equation in y equals x minus p and x minus q. So we want to transpose it to this right here. Okay? So in order to do that, we're going to need these two numbers right here, these two factors. Okay, so we already did this. We found out this was 8, this was 10, and we already did these factors. We found it was this. These both have to be plus. So now, these two factors right here have to add to be 18. 8 plus 10 is 18, correct. They also have to multiply back. 8 times 10 is positive 80. So if that checks, then you're going to say, you're going to split your x values here, one here and one here. Then you're going to take your two factors, plus 8 and plus 10, and put them right there. And you have just factored a trinomial. And you guys, this x method is really a great way to do it. I really think it's good. Okay, good one. Okay, let's try this one. All right, so what we've got going on here is we have, let's identify A is 1, B is -4, and C is -21. Always use the sign in front of the number. Okay, to get this up here, remember it's A times C. So what's 1 times -21? -21. This value down here is B, -4. So list your factors of 21. We need negative. Just go ahead and list them. 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. That's all we have. Which ones would add or subtract to give me -4? It's probably going to be these right here. So if I put 3 here and a 7 here, we've got to figure out what signs need to be here so that they add to give me -4. So if I put a negative here, -3 plus 7 is +4, so that's not going to work. So probably this is positive, this is negative. If your term down here in the B area is negative, then your largest factor, which is 7 and 3, 7 is the largest, would also be negative. So then you're going to write your answer as split your x's, x and x. You're going to have a +3 minus 7, and you just factored that trinomial. Okay? All right. Okay, let's do this one right here. Okay? All right, so we have A is 1. Always identify these. B is -13. C is 42. All right. Okay, so we're going to have A times C, 42. Your B value is -13. List your factors of 42. 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14. 4 doesn't work. 5, 6 works. 6 and 7. And I believe that's it. Okay, 1 and 42 are too far apart to give me 13. 21 and 2 are too far apart. Let's look. 14. Could I do 14 minus 3 or 3 plus 14 and get that? No, but 6 and 7 would probably work. Okay, what do the signs have to be on 6 and 7 to add to be -13? Well, they've both got to be negative. Okay, final answer, y equals x minus 6 and x minus 7. Remember, the two x's are split there. Okay. All right, here we go again. Let's do A is 1, B is 5, C is -6. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do A times C. This is -6. Our 5 goes here. We're going to list the factors of 6. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, we need a 5. Well, 2 and 3 will give us 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. But is 2 times 3 -6? Nope, doesn't work. So I don't think these are going to work. So let's try 1 and 6. Okay, if this is positive, this will have to be positive. This will have to be negative. Is -1 plus 6, is that 5? Yes. Is -1 times 6 -6? Yes. So final answer, y equals, take your two x's and split them, x and x, and we're going to go -1 plus 6. And there's your answer. So sometimes you have two choices, and you've got to check it out to see which one works out. Okay? All right. I believe this one is a repeat of the one we just did. So let's skip it. Let's go to this one. All right, A is 1, B is -10, and C is 25. Okay, so 25 is going to go here because it's 1 times 25. This will be -10. Factors of 25 are 1 and 25 and 5 and 5. Okay, which ones are, well, these are too far apart to give me 10. But 5 and 5 are close, so let's put a 5 and 5 here. The signs to add up, right now 5 plus 5 is +10. We need -10, so these have both got to be negative. So final answer, y equals x minus 5 times x minus 5. Now, because these two are the same, you want to get used to writing it like this, x minus 5 squared. Okay? All right. Make sure that you do MT1 exit ticket number 1 and MT1 lesson 1 on your Delta Math. It is due by next class period. Thank you.